Hi there, Joga here from A Pocket Full of Happiness, and in this video I'm going to create 5 cards using some of the new products. The first one is called Contrail Hearts. Then we have a 5x7-inch cover plate called Love Balloons Background. Then the Funky Alpha die set. Sentiments from the So Glad You Exist die set, I think. Now, I die cut this design from, well, like a light peach color cardstock and also from white. And I definitely wanted to layer them up for like a sturdier panel, because I wasn't sure yet if I wanted to create a shaker card. I know it's quite a small window for that, but I think it would still look good. However, I hate making shaker cards, so I actually decided against it. However, I wanted to have a little bit of edge from that white card stock that I layered under my peach one, so it's still kind of a bit smaller than the 5x7-inch, so you will see that I have like 3 layers visible. And then I decided to add foam tape to this, and I will add not shaker elements to the back, but I will just add some color cardstock instead of piecing the hearts back on this card. I will do that too, but on this one I just thought I cut some paper strips, and that will give me some color in the background. So I use the same papers that I cut my heart from for the other card. And at this point, of course, I don't know how many strips I will need. I always cut more than I need. And they are about, let's say, 1/4 of an inch. Obviously they are not perfect, but I try to space them, well, quite similar in size. So, and also there's this periwinkle. Oh my god, I think this is my last cardstock of this color. I hope not, but it could be. And it's so hard to find that color. I'm sad about that. I know I say that all the time. So I'm using a pencil to mark the edges of the hearts where, so I could, you know, I know where to place my paper strips. And I do not pay attention to how long they are. They will be covered up anyway. So, of course, what I did not pay attention to and should have is the top. Because my card panel is actually smaller than the card base. From what I remember, I got away with it this time, but yeah, that's something to pay attention to. And I think this is, or somewhere I realized this, and then I start putting my strips lower, from what I remember. If I could be wrong, because I'm still lining them up at the top. Anyway, I'll continue to do this. You see, it's peeking through a little bit. And yeah, that's where I noticed it. Okay, well, you can learn from my mistake. I don't know why I did not notice that earlier or think of it. I think I just can't think ahead. That's my biggest problem. So once this is done, I'm just adding that card panel, and because I have a lot of space, I will be able to create a larger sentiment. And oh, in the meantime, I apparently started the second card. On this one, I am going to piece the hearts back, which I love to do. I enjoy this. It looks like, you know, there's a lot of small hearts, but it goes really fast because there's not a lot of pieces altogether. And there's 4 different sizes. Actually, there's it confused me a little bit at first as well. I didn't remember if there were three or four, but the two smaller hearts, which look kind of the same from this angle, when you are working with them, you will see easily which one is which. So it doesn't take much time. And then we have the paper plane, which I didn't do earlier. So I will also make that for the first card as well. I create, if you see, I use 2 layers for every piece because I want this to be dimensional. And I line up, this is important, I line up the pieces at the end of the back piece of the plane, if that makes sense, because you can see the front, dies have a limitation to what they can do. And in small shapes like this, there cannot be 3 lines really. You will lose a little bit of that peak, so to say. This is why, but you will notice when you are putting it together that you have to line up the pieces at the back of the plane. I don't know if that made any sense, but I hope when you are working with it, it will help. Now I am using the Funky Alpha to create my sentiments. And like I said in an earlier video, I'm always struggling with sentiments. So, but for friends, it's always good to send cards for friends. So friend is a good one, I think. And then, of course, you can use a sub-sentiment, which there are a bunch of options for in the So Glad You Exist die set. Sorry, sometimes I have to think about what I want to say. And actually, this turned out to be my favorite version of these colorways for this particular sentiment, because I don't know, it just pops off that orange background, and I actually thought it was white, but it's not. It's the light peach color letters that I'm using for this. I love the way that looks, and I think maybe I should not forget to create a sentiment set that is like this, like just all these sentiment strips. I love that. It does take time to put these together the way I do here, but I always love the way they look, so I think that could be an idea. All right, so finishing up this sentiment, and I also created some more off camera with the same idea. This is what they look up close. I hope you can tell the dimension. They look so cool. And now I'm trying to figure out where I want to place my sentiments. I actually wanted, on this card, I wanted to put the plane over there. Then I realized, because I was going for "you're a great friend," but then I realized I don't actually have an apostrophe in the die set, and I didn't really want to create one manually. So I will just place the plane somewhere else. And if you can see, I use this die for a landscape orientation card and also a portrait one. So it works both ways, I think. And now I glued down the sub-sentiment for like a guide, and I will now add the letters for friend in a not so perfect way, not lined up, kind of like crooked and fun. At least for me, that's fun. And I use different colors to make the whole design a bit more, again, I want to say fun, but I'm just repeating myself. Please forgive me. It's 5:42 in the morning. I'm starting to get tired, and I'm babbling anyway all the time, you know me, but now it's especially getting bad. But this is the last video, I think. So we're getting there. So in the end, I decided to cover up the end of the contrail as much as I could, so that it doesn't look so odd. And I'm adding the first part of the sentiment at the top. Again, not paying attention to it being really lined up, which is why they are called funky alphabet, right? And then I'm adding the plain at the bottom. So I had plans to use these. These were the hearts from all the color backgrounds, and I didn't want to throw them away, so I fussy cut them all out. Maybe it gives you an idea the way I'm just placing them here randomly, but I just didn't have time to create something with that. So I'm moving on to the heart balloons cover plate. And again, as I showed in all the other videos, I did the same thing. I created this panel covered in double-sided adhesive, and that's gonna hold my pieces together. Of course, you could also just use that panel and remove all the balloons. I don't know if you're gonna understand what I mean, but that way you have already glue in those pieces, and you can just inlay these color pieces. But I like the dimension this adds. I don't like when I have like a one layer card, so that's why I spend a little bit more time on this. I mentioned again in another video that I only did like a rough placement with these die cuts on the press and seal, so I would not be able to glue them down at the same time. Plus the barely art glue is really quick drying, so by the time I finish gluing those pieces, some of them will be dry. And the other thing that I did here is some of the hearts I placed on foam tape, and so you see from the side that they stand out a little bit more. Here I didn't, so that's a little bit of a different look. You can see the comparison here. There's more dimension on the one on the right. And this one here, the sentiment, is only using the the negative shape of the die cut, which is a quicker version of creating it. And then for the awe-inspiring, I actually used the letters, so not the negative piece, I think, from what I remember. I could be totally wrong, so don't quote me on that. So I did not want to cover up the colors in the background. That's the whole card, right? I always struggle with this because once I'm done with the colorful piece like that, I just don't want to cover it up with a sentiment, and then I don't know what to do with it. So it always ends up looking a bit too simple, to be honest. But I just love doing this inlay or onlay or whatever you want to call it. To add some more interest, I am pulling out some enamel dots again and try to match the colors to them, so I can add different color enamel dots in every row. And then moving on to my next project, which is actually going to be a card for my husband. And this is again is something I already mentioned. It's one of my favorite things to do is creating a long sentiment with larger letters on the background and then nothing else, so that's something that's perfect for guys, I think, but I just anyway like it even for girls, and then I can add as many colors as I want. Not that he will appreciate any of this, I don't think. Not the colors or even cards, it's just he doesn't care um, all that much. But I wanted to create a card like this where I use the sentiment or the letters and the numbers on the same card, because I wanted you to see the difference in size, and also because really this is one of my favorite designs, where you just have a sentiment basically. And he's the only one that has birthday from my family, so yeah, he's gonna have to live with this. As you can see, I'm trying to just randomly place those letters. They are centered in the middle, or the whole sentiment is, but I don't pay attention to the letters being lined up. And just so that the number stands out, I use blue for that line. And just to add some more blue accents, I'm using some of these blue hearts that I had left over from the Contrail Hearts project. And then I'm just trying to figure out where I want to place them. And I probably always, normally I go overboard with how many I'm using, but I'm trying to keep the number at a minimum since it's gonna be for a guy. Although I don't know. I mean, to me, this doesn't look so masculine, or not masculine, feminine, sorry. But, you never know. And I wanted to work in some of those leftover paper strips, but I just didn't feel like it needed that. So this is the first finished project. And then I have the heart balloons cards. On this one, you can see that the baskets are from craft cardstock, and the hearts in every line are different color here. However, I have the same colored baskets with the same colored hearts, and they are kind of scattered on the background. And then I have the two Contrail Hearts projects here at the end. You can see the dimension there, I hope. And then here on the last project with the paper strips in the background. And again, all that dimension. So I hope I could give you some ideas. I hope you like the new products in this new release. It's been a while, I know. Life happened, but I hope you are as excited as I am with these new products. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.